So this is our September Patreon Q&A. All the questions came from members of our Patreon. You can look up in the top button to subscribe to our Patreon. Yeah. So, first few questions are kind of just a little bit like house cleaning. A little bit about merch. Housekeeping, not cleaning. Keeping. Whatever.
Same difference.
So
same thing.
Masuda Alex asks, do you think you're ever going to re-release old merch, like t-shirts and stuff? And yeah, so I think
Yeah, we have a plan because we have a lot of designs from throughout the years. So many designs, some better than others.
So many.
But I think we're going to try. We have a way to make some of the greatest hits available. So hopefully by November we'll have that ready. So keep a lookout for that.
Cool. Guys ever, or do you guys? Grimmy asks, do you have any plans to release a Jigsaw puzzle? Good luck, everybody. Christmas Island, Ugly Spiral, or whatever. Happily struggle with an AJJJ, AJJ Jigsaw.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably.
I feel like the good luck everybody cover especially would be a wonderful jigsaw.
Well, the Christmas Island would be really good.
Yeah, Christmas Island.
Yeah.
Or just even the inside of the gatefold on Christmas Island. Just the fucking pattern.
Oh yeah.
Colors.
Can you has anyone done like a two-sided puzzle? You got like your A side and your B side?
God, that's probably a nightmare.
I just gave one. It's only a 9-piece, but we just gave one to Sean and Tony. Well, I guess to Leo for it's just a little baby puzzle, but it is A side, B side.
Cool.
Pretty big floor puzzle.
Yeah. It's got animals. I like to mess with those sides and make like a lion head with like a monkey face, stuff like that.
Nice.
Like flip them around and mix and match.
Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't play God.
So yes.
Yeah, jigsaws. We gotta do. Let's go ape shit with jigsaw puzzles. The Ugly Spiral jigsaw puzzle would be pretty awesome. The John Olsen collage.
Yeah.
Tight.
Indeed.
I think a Bible 2 one would be great because it's just mostly white.
Yeah.
Just fucking impossible. I've seen so many
people love hard puzzles.
I've seen people they got the pup one that has the morbid stuff artwork on it. It's like everyone's complaining about how fucking hard it is. Just like so much just like one monochrome pink.
Yeah.
What could be only God can judge me would be similar in that.
That would be the
regard.
B-side for the Bible 2 one. And then the last of the merchy questions, Upwolf asks, Ben's good luck everybody jumpsuit in the store soon?
I have one, so maybe. I'd like to imagine that on the tour I had a fresh one for every single show, but I only had one jumpsuit for the entire tour and I didn't wash it a single time. So maybe, yeah. Sounds like there's a market. At least one person is interested.
And
so
you have one. So
I'll think about it.
Great.
Yeah. You make a whole line of them, but they only come in your size.
Which the one I have?
Yeah, it's like you have to be 6'5", to wear it.
Even the one I have is not in my size though, so yes, it would be great if little tight.
That's part of the style is to have it not fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was intentional for sure.
Yeah,
fashion choice.
I think the next tour you should do it instead of a jumpsuit, go with like a romper. You could do the same, just cut the legs off of the jumpsuit, basically.
Yeah, I was wondering, is that the difference? A romper would just be a cutoff, like jumpsuit with cutoffs? Jumpsuit?
So yeah, it's like a short sleeve, short panted jumpsuit that doesn't fit quite right.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, so that's all the merch question.
A romp suit.
Let's see. So next up, we got William Eli asks, would you guys consider any of the small socially distanced shows that are beginning to happen? What would it take to get Sean to come to Cleveland for a small solo show at the Grog Shop?
It would take a lot. As much as that sounds like a whole lot of fun. I don't know. I just think it still feels too soon to try to do any kind of gatherings inside. I would feel like such a fucking prick if I were to go to Cleveland and play the Grog Shop for 20 people or something, and that ended up resulting in the transmission of the virus. It'd just be hard.
Especially when the music is people sing along to it. That's like part of the the experience of seeing this music. And be like, all right, nobody sing. Breathe only through your nose. But I'm down. Let's do an outdoor festival.
It had something in Newcastle. A friend of the family sent me this article about them doing outdoor performance where everyone had like these boxes they were in, they had like these kind of like they're like little tiny stages basically, and it was like a maybe 10 by 6, and like you'd have just the people that you are in the same bubble with would arrive. Obviously getting in and out would be a huge logistical nightmare, but they did a performance. They plan on doing more, and I don't know. It's a way to do it. It'd be really expensive way and a really complicated way to do it, but it's cool that people are putting their brains to the task and trying to find out clever ways to make it work. I think that doing something outdoors might be all right. Doing things virtually, maybe trying to do something. I know Sean's been doing live from quarantine, of course, but maybe trying to do something that's a little bit more band-y would be fun. But obviously we're all. Well, not obviously. Sean and I live in Tucson. Mark and Owen live in Phoenix, and Preston's living in Oakland. So getting everyone together would be somewhat challenging, but I think we can pull something off in the next couple months.
My friend Gwen from the Great Arizona Puppet Theater told me that they recently invested in a shortwave radio, and they've been doing drive-up puppet shows.
Whoa, sweet!
And yeah, cool. She hit me up just to see if we'd be interested in that, like somewhere down the line when the weather gets nicer, of doing like a drive-in concert at the Puppet Theater.
Yeah, I saw some stuff online back in let's say April maybe. Some people in LA did a shortwave radio. I think it was even in the Murder Taco parking lot. But
cool.
Yeah, they like had performers there, and then they broadcasted shortwave, and everyone stayed in their cars. But I only heard about that one.
Cool.
Yeah, my grandma's really obsessed with the idea of drive-in theaters coming back.
I hope they do.
Yeah, great.
I mean, I guess they never really went away. They've probably been declared dead hundreds of times, but they're kind of everywhere.
There's one in Scottsdale that was really hanging on for a long time in South Scottsdale, North Tempe.
Yeah,
I've been to that one.
If only they lasted till the pandemic. It would be crushing it.
They'd be crushing it.
Doesn't seem like it would take a whole lot to get one going, I mean, you got the screen. I guess you have the whole infrastructure because the little speakers, right? That's the thing. You'd have to run the speaker wire to the little.
No, you just
do they just blast the sound?
You just tune in with your car radio.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, yeah. If you did a shortwave style, yeah, okay.
Because I one where they handed you a radio and you.
Yeah, I thought you could
put it on your
window
or whatever. And the sound was shitty. It was very clearly a subpar experience. But this was at a time when going to a movie theater was still an option. So maybe it would be awesome then.
I did see that I think it's like Tribeca and Walmart are doing a thing that's going to start rolling out maybe next month, where they're turning Walmart parking lots into drive-ins. Like they're just going to assemble, screens in them. But,
Yeah, you can use you can just inflate a screen. They the Loft does them at the park where they just have an inflatable screen that they put up temporarily.
yeah.
That's awesome though.
But yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and then I saw it's this week, I think. Hannibal Buress and Open Mike Eagle are doing like a drive-in tour where
Cool.
I don't know the logistics of it, but I think it's I think they're just in LA and then they're just broadcasting to that one city that day or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
A lot of creative people coming up with different ways to do it. It's great.
Yeah.
Open Mike Eagle rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So live from John Peoples asks, he says, live from quarantine, it's had y'all covering lots of other folk songs. Are there any covers of AJJ songs out there that y'all like a lot?
There was one Halloween, so I think it was 3 years in a row we would do a cover set for Halloween, and we would have other bands play with us, make it into a whole show. And one year we had Blankets open the show, this band from Prescott, Arizona. And we didn't know if they were going to cover stuff or if they were just going to play their own set. And they surprised us by doing an AJJ cover set, which was just it was funny and fun, and I enjoyed that. But just basically because it was this band that I enjoyed, and it was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pop did a Rock Out of My Dreams that was from a rehearsal.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty badass. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Rosenstock will bust out a surprise AJJ cover. He'll do Little Brother or Break Your Renown sometimes, and he does those pretty well. Yeah.
Cool. Charles A. Lopez writes, my favorite artist is Phil Ochs. I think you guys are very similar to Phil both musically and lyrically. Do y'all take any inspiration from him? If so, why haven't you ever covered him on Live from Quarantine?
I love Phil Ochs. Phil Ochs is awesome. I love the timbre and sound of his voice, and he's a really, really great guitarist. And the main reason I haven't covered him is that it's hard to find the right song to pick. I don't like to cover. I'm weirdly, well, I guess not weirdly. I'm fairly picky about what songs I'm able to do and what songs I just literally can do, skill wise and theme wise and stuff. And I haven't found my Phil Ochs song that I'm going to cover yet. But yeah, I don't know. It's not to be too precious about it or anything. But it's gotta be the right fit, you know. I won't for artists that I do cover more of. There are songs that I like more that I won't cover. I'll go for the one that I'm more able to, or the one that I can do justice.
Yeah, a lot of those songs are so specific about events and things. It can.
Yeah, that's true.
They're very much like Phil Ochs songs. That's his song. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
We did cover that Phil. What is that kind of spitting song? Something like Sheriff Ochs. Didn't we cover that on some kind of CDR release one time years ago? Maybe that French Quarter split.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which isn't a Phil Ochs song. It's a kind of spitting song
tribute to Phil Ochs.
Yeah,
which is a good song. Yeah.
Phil Ochs is great.
He is great.
It'd be kind of it'd be sort of just whipping out a newspaper from the 60s and just reading an article. Oh, let's read the news today.
All right. Oriana Capusta asks, how have you been spending your days now that you're home all the time? Also, has Preston been okay in California with the fires?
Oh, that's very nice. Thanks for asking. I'll start, I guess. I'm okay with the fires in the sense that I haven't like my house isn't not in danger of the fires themselves, or getting evacuated or anything like that. The couple of weeks with the smoke being so bad was pretty hard. Feeling pretty anxious and a little bit depressed and so forth. So I'm doing okay. I'm still like very, I'm lucky in that like I have a house where I can be. As far as like how I'm spending days, trying to be productive during the day, working in the garden, when I can go outside, playing guitar a lot, watching a lot of action movies and horror movies.
Cool.
Petting cats.
Hell yeah.
What about you guys?
Owen, what do you got?
I've just been finishing a record and playing with my kid. That's mostly it. Trying to go for a walk every day, doing running. I bought those goofy ass toe shoes
Cool.
for running.
I was wondering when you were going to get those.
Yeah. Well, the time has arrived.
Tony will be so delighted.
Are
Yeah.
you wearing them now?
I'm not wearing any shoes now.
So you're basically wearing them then?
Yeah,
It's
I mean those aren't really
like
shoes.
wearing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been playing a lot of Nintendo. So also, I'm very, very grateful to have a Nintendo right now. It's been great. Animal Crossing is like, I know it's dumb and everybody already went through their, not everybody, but the popular phase of Animal Crossing is dumb, and I'm still getting like a lot of comfort out of it as a weird security blanket of like feeling stressed out and then completely checking out into this alternate reality. It's pretty nice sometimes.
Hell yeah.
Mark, your turn.
Yeah, speaking of video games. I've been trying to, play music and buying and selling a lot of gear, taking hand sanitizer with me to Walgreens parking lots, and trying to stream stuff on Twitch, both like music, performance-y, improv stuff, and like also just video games. Playing a lot of that new old Tony Hawk. It's sick. It's so sick.
Weird.
I hope they come out with a Switch port for that. That'd be
No, probably
really
not.
nice.
They probably won't. Sorry.
Why not?
I don't know. But yeah, that game's cool. They put they updated the soundtrack, and like screaming females are in it.
Cool.
A couple other bands. But yeah.
It'd be funny if it was just Goldfinger Superman
Well,
once again and again and again on the loop.
you can
Is that still?
you can turn songs off of the playlist now, so it could just be only Superman if you wanted it to be, which I think is what I might set up next time I play.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It's also sick because they put all the people in as their ages, so it's just like 50-year-old Tony Hawk model.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's cool.
been playing a lot of
I
Tony
want
Hawk.
I'll play as old Alyssa Steamer.
yeah, Alyssa Steamer's in there.
Yeah,
She's
like-
old.
Is Chad Muska all like weird and artsy now? Does he have like dumb glasses?
I think so.
Yes. Yes.
It's great. But yeah, so music, video games, washing my hands. Ben's turn.
Just wanted to check. My screen is totally tripping, but as long as you can see everything, then
Yeah.
are you good? Can you see everything? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, what have I been doing? Staying indoors a lot. Trying to actually going on walks when it cools off at the end of the day. Just playing a lot of music in the summer. Just going out and like recording things at my house, which was fun. And now my daughter's back in school, so remote learning has kind of gotten me. There's not a dull moment. I haven't been bored. It makes me wonder how I was able to like get anything else done when things were back in like a normal time, because like maybe things are a little bit more challenging as far as like going to the store now is like there's more steps involved and it's like slower, but it makes me wonder, because it's like just as far as like getting food and preparing food and like washing my underwear and helping my daughter get done with her schoolwork and just getting everything done in the day. It's keeps me plenty busy. But it's been good. It's been really productive. I've been able to, when I have time, I can do things that I choose to do rather than things that I feel more obligated to do. I'm building a shed in my backyard. It's just a couple steps at a time, real slow going. I messed up my back actually, like right after that tour. My back was just like kind of going in and out of like working and not working for a long time, and I'm feeling pretty good physically now. I've been trying to take time to stretch every day and stuff like that. So I don't know, the routine's definitely changed, but certain things, and it is frustrating to be, in this world with the virus and everything, but there are some things that I recognize are valuable about my day-to-day that I'd like to be able to maintain if things did get back to kind of a more normal state.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Like I said, like, going on walks, like I was, especially in the summertime, I was like really good about doing like long walks with the dogs every day. And I feel like physically that's good for me and it's good for the dogs. And, when my daughter's up to it, she gets to come along, get some exercise, and just a nice, like kind of peaceful time of day. Stretching is nice. Like I said, like that's just physically been just doing things that are like good for my body physically that I've kind of neglected. But it really became a necessity this year where like my back just wasn't really working for me. So it's great to have it working for me again. So yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any other ones right off the top of my head, but I know there's some other ones too.
Cool.
What you got, Sean?
I've been spending a lot of time parenting. Tony and I have a small child who's now 15 months, and he's walking around and learning words and talking, and that's really, really nice and fun. And then I started reading more. I just read the Warren Zevon autobiography, or not the autobiography, but the one that his best friend Crystal put together.
So good.
Yeah, it's so good. Man, that guy was an incredible fuckboy. What he like such a shitty guy. And I love that book. And now I'm reading the new Murakami. Let's see, skating when I can. I try to go when it's hot out because that means no one else will be there. Let's see. Yeah, performing music live on the internet 3 days a week has been a nice outlet, and a way to kind of like break up the other times that I spend incredibly frustrated at the state of the world. Other than that, trying to record stuff, covers, and trying to write, although it's hard to write.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Question. Lessened Wonder asks, is there a specific reason why you have not played Darkest Heart in any of the Live from Quarantine?
I don't we never really played that one live too much. And I don't really remember how it goes. Yeah,
Good reason.
that song doesn't interest me as much as it did when we wrote and recorded it. Sorry.
Cool. So moving on to the next category, which I have dubbed Find the Music.
Love it.
Sophie Bradshaw asks, hey, what the hell is horsehair vase about?
That one's about being homesick, but for a place that you're not even sure where it is.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jules Zuckerberg writes, hey AJJs, I hope you're having a nice Q&A so far. I was curious, who painted the cover art for Knife Man and what inspired the image?
That was painted by a muralist named Scent Rock, or Joseph Perez. He's from Phoenix and he lives, I believe, in Chicago now. And that was a painting, obviously, but his scope has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger as his career has gone on, and now he does just big ass the sides of buildings.
We saw. Just in Miami when we were there the last time, we were driving somewhere and looked out the window, and there was a huge Scent Rock mural. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing to see where he pops up. Last time we were in Lansing, Michigan, where I used to live, there's a big Scent Rock mural on the side of a record store that he must have done like in between me moving away and us coming back to play. Yeah, he's so sick. As far as I don't think we could really speak to his motivations as far as the symbolism and stuff, but I just really love the way it looked. That was so detailed and cool.
Was that a pre-existing thing that he did, or did he make that specifically for the record?
It was pre-existing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we went to the gallery and we had a few choices. He had several pieces available, and that one just really, I think it was pretty easy decision. Although all the other stuff he made is really great. Sean, you have the Bird City Saints one, another one of his pieces as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that one's in our house.
Brianna Dayton asks, I know you guys like to reference movies sometimes, like Werner Herzog's Bad Lieutenant and Con Air. The way I worded that made it sound like Werner Herzog made Con Air, which would be sick. Are there any other lyrics or songs that are less explicitly inspired by movies you guys love? And are there any movies that have inspired you in any way generally?
Hell yeah.
Movies are the best.
Movies are the best. For the Bible too, one of the around that time that we were, I think it was around the Bible too. Mad Max Fury Road had come out, and I saw that in the theaters like 4 or 5 times. And that was like not so much thematically an inspiration for the Bible too, but like definitely gave me fuel to it got me like really psyched up and excited to make music and try to make something like on a that would even come close to the scope of that, which it certainly did not. But yeah, like I'll find myself obsessed with a movie, like one per record, that just kind of gets me hyped. And for that record, it was Fury Road, and then the last record it was Annihilation, which I still think about that movie, and I think I've probably at this point seen that movie more than any other film.
Was that the Australian tour? That must have been before the Bible too, but during Big Bird, it often gets sprayed with silver. What was it? It was like food spray paint. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. That was very badass. Witness me!
Yeah. I'm trying to think of. They didn't mention. I don't know if the person asking the question knows that the inner city basshead history teacher is half Nelson.
Oh yeah.
Maybe, you know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if there are other other movie references buried in the discography.
Golden Eagle. Is one, right?
I know there have to be, like, for sure.
Golden Eagle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Movie reference.
Yeah, Golden Eagle is a foxcatcher, I think.
Yeah.
Is New Jack City, even though it's like very
Oh yeah.
Love in Your Heart is in the New Jack City, like the background vocals and is Love in Your Heart are in the New Jack City, I believe. Yeah. Actually, I know they are because I've sung them before.
Yeah.
At one point in time,
What?
I was gonna say initially the working title for Knife Man was New Jack City the musical, and there were actually a few songs that Sean wrote that were much more literally referencing New Jack City that never made it. I don't know what happened to those. I know they were at least existed in demo form at one point in time, but
Yeah, I think those are still on Tony's MacBook, like from
Cool.
like her old one.
we'll have
But
to-
I have no idea what they would sound like anymore. There was I did a parody of a Roger Miller song about annihilation that I want to share with you guys.
Hell yeah.
If I was a clone who thought I was a man and you were a weird fucking plant, it'd be annihilation. Annihilation. All the cells are replicating. It's gonna be a pretty good annihilation. If I was a bear with the voice of a woman and you were a replicant, it'd be annihilation. Annihilation. All the cells are mutating. It's gonna be a pretty good annihilation. I love. Don't you know I always will? You're a soldier and a scientist, and I'm a cactus and a locust and a crocus and a whippoorwill. If I was a clone who thought I was a man and you were a weird fucking plant, it'd be annihilation. Annihilation. All the are mutating. It's gonna be a pretty good annihilation.
That's a hit.
Thank you.
Watch out, Weird Al.
Yeah. There's another Roger Miller I'm working on for Fury Road.
Is it also set to reincarnation?
No, it's Oodalolly. Like Mad Max and Furiosa driving in the desert, driving through a straight line, nothing much to see. Then it'll be like, Oodalolly, Oodalolly, what a lovely day!
That's great.
Awesome. Cool. Mazu asks, which of your song titles do you think is the coolest?
Angel
None
of
of
Death.
Yeah, Angel of Death. Song titles are dumb.
That's what I like. I like the dumb ones, like "Zombie" by the Cranberries by Andrew Jackson Jihad.
Yeah, some good ones.
People 2 Still People. Like I think those are my favorites. The ones that are just like the total embrace of how stupid song titles are.
Yeah, those are the days. We used to have it.
Yeah, lost it.
Mega Guillotine 2020 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Mark Trapp asks, what is your absolute least favorite song from your catalog?
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with that that thing we put together for the Joe Arpaio, the anti-Joe Arpaio 7-inch, 4-way 7-inch split. I mean, it was fun to make, but it's fucking ridiculous and over the top, and it's too much, in my opinion.
like shitty pop punk song that ends with the Dead Kennedys tribute.
It's all the pop song. I think it begins and ends with the Dead Kennedys tribute, and there's some Misfits in the middle, and then there's yeah. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's pretty
a little too much. we did it because we could, and that's not always the way you should conduct yourself.
Well said.
You've made
we
a good
ripped that
argument.
song pretty good live a couple times though. That song was cooking.
I mean, it's fun. It is fun to play, but like listening to it, not being a part of like making it happen. Like, I mean, it's goofy, it's silly, and there's all that. But yeah, it is fun to play. Just because it's like a challenge. It's like playing like Guitar Hero or something. But
well, why play a cover when you can play 3 covers and change the lyrics?
Yeah, good point.
Exactly.
It does have the line, I guess I'm going to say, I killed Arpaio today. And what's the next part after that? I don't know. That alone is pretty good. So I guess it has some redeeming qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think song title is pretty good, but Zombie by the Cranberries by Andrew Jackson Jihad ranks pretty high on my list of least favorite. Or so I guess very low on my list of favorites. Just because it's kind of like confused and moral and preachy and like, but also like bootstrappy at the same time. Like the last time I listened to that song was when Dan Ozzie interviewed me about, ranking our records from best to worst. And that song jumped out at me where I was like, shut up, asshole. So maybe that one for me. Because it hints at the idea of compassion, but it like misses a very important mark, I feel like.
Cool.
Yeah. How about you guys? Which are my songs?
I mean, I got a pretty easy answer, and that's I think Lady Killer is probably my least favorite, and not even necessarily because of the song, but because it's partially because of the song, but more so because people will just yell for it the entire show, even after someone has said, we're not going to play that tonight. It's just like gonna hang there forever as far as that's why it's my least favorite, is because of the context that it brings up.
Yeah. In that way, Two-Headed Boy is my least favorite.
Yeah, it's my least favorite AJJ song.
One time I played in Germany, and a woman followed me out of the venue, like nagging me to play Two-Headed Boy. Like I was done. I like packed up my guitar and I was like leaving, and this woman just was like, "Why didn't you play Two-Headed Boy?" Sorry, shitty accent. Sorry about that, German.
Germans have a fine accent, Sean. I don't think you should call it shitty. Along those lines, I think it's interesting. We got so one thing can have the best. It's like the zombie song, best title for a song, but a song we don't like playing from the catalog, or a song Sean doesn't like playing from the catalog. Fuck White People, maybe kind of a shitty song, but I do love the title when people yell that out at a show, just as if I imagine that some people in the crowd are not aware of that as a song, and it's just a member of the audience screaming "Fuck White People." So in that sense, I do appreciate that song title.
Yeah,
out of context. The less context, the better for that one.
Right. Cool. Robbie Ferrero asks, was there ever a time when you were self-conscious about your singing voice, whether capability or tone or etc.? And if so, what did you do to get past it?
I get self-conscious about my singing voice anytime I hear an old record that we've recorded. It's always, I feel like I'm always changing my style or modifying the way I sing, and I'm always a little bit happier with the result So the times I get the most self-conscious are retroactively, like, oh, what was that affectation that I was trying on there? Like, and there's nothing you can really do about that other than shrug and move on. Yeah, as far as like feeling self-conscious about singing about what you're singing now, I don't know, just fucking do it. If you're singing, it should, in my opinion, it should feel good to sing. So as long as you're enjoying yourself singing, that's what should matter. Obviously, that doesn't always happen, but yeah, if you're singing for your own enjoyment, then you shouldn't be self-conscious when you're doing it.
Hey, Owen, I'd be curious to hear your take on that question.
Yeah.
It was like, have you ever been uncomfortable with your singing voice, and how do you get comfortable?
Yeah.
You repeat the question?
Was there ever a time you were self-conscious about your singing voice? And if so, what did you do to get past it?
Yeah, the boring answer that I think I would subscribe to is like time, like practice, and like hearing yourself record it over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and as time goes on, you probably just find a place that maybe, like, I don't know, at least for me personally now, if I've gotten to a place where like it's always made me uncomfortable, and now I'm just like okay with that uncomfortability. That's sort of like exposure therapy style of doing it, where it's just like always kind of felt like this sounds bad, and then eventually just got okay with this sounds bad, and then it was more focused on like what do I write or whatever. So I guess I'm thinking mostly about writing and just making sure that the notes are like sort of there. But yeah, I think if you've ever been uncomfortable, or if the person is asking with the assumption that they feel uncomfortable with their voice, then I would say just a lot of practice of recording it, listening back to it. But yeah, trying to sound a certain way, like Sean was saying, trying on different affectations. It's like a surefire way to get bummed out, because it's just not going to be you necessarily.
But it's also the path that you take to find your true voice.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Totally.
Like people, you got to imitate before you find out who you are, I feel like. But it is embarrassing to listen back to it.
Yeah, but the only real way out is just right through. Like if you're feeling uncomfortable with your singing voice, the only way out of it is just more singing.
Yeah.
And just plowing through. I was like, oh, like I'm not good enough at guitar. The only cure is like, all right, play more, like play through it. There are people though that like, it'll bum me out when I hear like modern, some kind of like new bands where it's clear that the singer is just like aping. There was a period in time where like fucking everybody sounded like Deventer Banhart, or everybody sounded like Cat Power or something, and it's like that sucks. Yeah. And if you think that that's your voice, like that's unfortunate that you could fall into that hole, K-hole of like, this is my voice now, and like because for two reasons: one, like those people already exist, but two, like your voice is probably cool because nobody else has it. So like being able to, the more you're masking it with other stuff, it's like, yeah. And I love the way that Sean sounds. There are moments, Patreon, I'm gonna fan out for a minute, but there are moments where there's like, I could have sworn there was like an effect on your voice, like on the album. I remember hearing an album version of like Temple Grandin maybe or something like that, and there's like I was like, oh, that's some cool like vocal effect they're doing, and then live you did it with like no effects on your voice. It's just like how your voice sounds singing this specific thing, and I was like, oh fuck, they just like,
oh,
this captures this cool thing, and it sounds like an effect, and I don't know, like, yeah, it's rad. But you could miss out on stuff like that if you're denying the world your beautiful voice. Patreon.
Yeah. So you're saying those Devendra impersonators or Cat Power impersonators maybe like stopped too soon in their journey, or they just kind of like set out to unartfully ape these artists?
Yeah, I guess I don't want to. Yeah, I think
Or
it can.
no explanation.
Yeah, I guess I'm just remembering a period of time where there was like it was clear that some people had decided their voice was the same as these other people's voices, and then ended the pursuit there. Whereas yours was like transitional, of like trying things on. Which I personally, listening to your old stuff, your voice sounds awesome, and I can't think of who you're impersonating. And usually the advice of imitating is I mean that's usually good anyway, because it's never going to quite sound like this anyway, and yours doesn't, to me, sound like
Yeah.
Thanks,
man.
On Candy Cigarettes, when I've listened to it, I think I listened like a year ago or something, I heard Frank Black.
Oh yeah,
and I know that Sean was listening to a lot of Pixies and stuff, so.
for sure.
But otherwise, yeah, I mean, you know, my favorite singers have a very particular voice. Just something about some individual character. I like that, rather than somebody that just could be sounds like everyone else or has a more maybe generic voice. But that's just for me. I know some people like a particular, like there's a right way to sing and you have to sound a certain way to be singing well, and you know, that's for them. But yeah.
We call those people cowards.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ben, what about you? You're a singer.
Yeah, I like singing a lot. I don't love hearing my voice. I think that just the nature of hearing yourself in your own head and then hearing it played back through speakers can be there's a disconnect there. But yeah, like what Sean said, like it should be fun, and I do like singing. I have more recently realized that changing chord, like changing the key of a song is like really helpful. Whereas like I'd always just be like, okay, it sounds best if I'm like at the top of my register, but like that's not, I don't think that's true. And also recently I feel like my register changed a little bit. So yeah, all just going back to the fact that like finding it a good comfortable place where it's fun to sing is really important, and doing it a lot. And I noticed that when I sing a lot, when we're on tour, I feel more comfortable singing and I feel like I sing better. Whereas if I've been home and I haven't been singing, or then it's a little bit more challenging. There was one time we were on tour and I was showing Rick Johnson the Wiccan Babysitter stuff right after I'd recorded it, and he said that it didn't sound like me, which I was always really confused at that statement, but I guess I should ask him for clarification. like 7 years later, hey, that one time we were driving from Santa Cruz, you said it didn't sound like me. What did you mean? But, I don't know. Yeah, I think sometimes it can be hard to like know what you sound like. There's a lot of different ways to sing. You know, you can like yell it, you can scream it, you can whisper it, like. But then again, like that's cool because then those are all just things you can bring to the recording studio and try all the different things and approach things in different ways. And the more you sing and the more you hear yourself sing, like the more you can make it better.
One thing that you mentioned that just like unlocked a memory in my brain. I think it was like John Congleton on a podcast or something was talking about how hearing your own voice played back to you is unnatural. Like humans weren't evolved to do that, so you're always going to have some level of dissatisfaction with it.
That's true.
Yeah, that's all.
There's a great little trick. Like if it's kind of weird for mixing, but like to actually enjoy listening back to a song that you've recorded that I've been doing in Logic is like since Mark told me, I was like, there's no vary speed in Logic. It sucks. That's why I like things with a vary speed. And then he's like, no, there is. Look. And he Googled it or whatever. I was like, oh shit. Okay, so then I've been using vary speed in Logic, and listening to your voice. Like if you just slow down your whole track by like a couple, maybe like 10% or something. Okay. Um, it's like even just a few. I like lowering it a lot because it sounds cool when it's like just completely screwed. But the listening back to it, your own voice through the very speed, like pitch manipulation of slowing it down a little bit is wonderful. Like all of a sudden it's like completely tolerable, even just a little bit. When it's your exact self, it's like there's like I'm like nitpicking everything, and then as soon as I drop it down a little bit, I'm like, oh, this guy sounds okay. Like this is all right. It's not me.
There's just enough disconnect going on.
Yeah.
That's cool. Try that. I love messing with the very speed, but I've never thought about like using it to kind of accept vocals. That's great. That's a great idea.
There's a whole section in this new song I'm working on where it just goes like, and it does like a tape slow, and then it just continues.
Oh, nice.
Slowly.
Nice. Cool.
Can't wait to hear this record, Owen. Very excited.
Yeah.
Preston, did you got any sense? What do you think?
Oh no, I mean just not much between besides just what I said earlier of just kind of singing through it. I think everyone else like covered it. You know, like I think that holding on to, like, you know, Sean was saying that it should feel good to sing. I think like to me, like holding on to the feeling and like guarding that is the most important part. It's like enjoying yourself as you're singing through whatever whatever doubts you might have. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Depopulate Montana asks, what is your music creating process? Music then lyrics? Lyrics then music? What's the process? I pulled that question because I the music then lyrics thing is like question.
Yeah. It's all five of us are going to have different answers for that, for sure. For me, I like it the best when it happens kind of at the same time. Like when it's like lyrics accompanied by a melody, you know, where you can sing the lyrics in like in a tuneful way. And then, so that's music and lyrics at the same time. Like to give an example, Mega Guillotine 2020, which Owen pointed out is just chestnuts roasting on an open fire. It like they came at the same time. Mega Guillotine, I love you. It's easy. So yeah, that's I very rarely have done music before lyrics. Yeah, but sometimes it'll be like I'll have a riff that I'm playing around with, or a chord progression, and then I'll find a way to fit it in. How about you guys?
I think that is the best. Yeah, if you can, for a certain type of song, when it's like, the lyrics and the melody come together, and then it's just a matter of like finding a guitar or a piano and like figuring out what the chords are supposed to be or which chords are suitable to them. But like other bands I played in, you know, like in Malachi, which is like kind of a little bit more like angular metal band I used to play in, we would always do the music first, and it would be, the lyrics would hopefully be written by the time John had to go do the vocals. I always
thought that was cool.
Yeah, I think there's for different types of music, you can do it different ways, you know. So, but I also like a lot of times I'll have a guitar and I'll have like a chord progression. Oh, I love this chord progression, or like a riff, you know, and then I can like develop that, you know, like try to build that out, have that in my head, and then try to like get some kind of melody or lyrics. So yeah, it for me, in different bands and for different songs, it'll happen in a different order. But I think the most convenient one would be where you get like lyrics and melody in your head, then you just find the chords and you build it from there.
Owen?
Yeah, it's for me usually music first. Or usually I'll just like be sitting at an instrument and then coming up with a melody and chord progression that is interesting to me. And then rarely will it be. I don't think it's ever been lyrics first, actually. But sometimes it will be lyrics at the same time, and that's usually from just like shouting out word salad over top, while like finding an interesting melody, and a few times that's been like vague enough to like where you sort of like, oh, this kind of means something, and then that's kind of like an incredible gift to be given, where you can just go and develop it further because it's like a seed for something else, and it's easier to build off of. Like, I think rarely does the word salad. Usually it just kind of sounds and stuff, and it sounds ridiculous. I'm sure. Luckily, I've never recorded that process. I won't record it until there's like something that's not word salad. But but a few times that's been like the chorus of a song, where it's just like, okay, this is the thing that came out. And I was listening to actually Jim Adkins' podcast recently, where he was interviewing songwriter people, and they were talking about how like that. Can't remember who he was interviewing, but they were talking about how it's sort of like a window into your subconscious, where they were thinking that like maybe it's your subconscious kind of just like giving you free access to stuff, and kind of like when you've opened yourself up and you're kind of letting that stuff fly out a little bit, it's kind of like something you really do want to say, even if you didn't know that you wanted to say it. But sometimes it's just like absurd too. But yeah, that's how I've done it. Preston.
Yeah. With me, it's always been music. I've always had a hard time finding words to express what's going on. So to me, it's always music. And I haven't written I haven't written a song with lyrics in years. Like a lot of music, but even though I love singing, so yeah, so to me it's always music. I love the word. If I was more gifted with words, I would write more of them, but you know, like, to me, like, music does it. So lyrics are always very, like, for me personally, are always very downstream from the music part.
I'm always very impressed with what you're able to express just musically. You're really fucking good at it. So
I feel like I do that. Like, I don't know, I can express myself a lot more just like sitting down and improvising at a piano than I could, you know, speaking. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of my language. I would just kind of rather jam about it, and it'll probably make more sense. The less that's said about it, the less obscure it is.
Well, yeah, Preston, you do a lot of singing in the band, and I'm always impressed with, like, when we're in the studio too. Like, you're a great singer.
Yeah,
so,
I love to sing. Yeah. I just don't have the words. Sure, and to me, it's like to me, it's the vowels. Maybe it's because, like, spending so much time when I was young listening to so much metal, or like I couldn't understand the words, and so it was just like it's like the vowels were the things that got me. So like even now to you know, to this day, like it takes me a minute to hear lyrics with songs. Like when Sean brings a new song, I always, like, it takes me, I have to know the song before I hear a word that he says. like lyrically, and then I like, and then I get it, and then I'm able to sink into it. But for a long time, it's all music. I'll be like sitting around listening to music with someone like, oh wow, I can't believe he just said that. Like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I have not heard a word that he said. But I love those vowels and like,
Well, the sounds, going back to what Owen was saying, like the sound of the words, I think that is also a really important thing. I imagine Sean would agree with that too.
And plenty of bands, like are all, like certain Can albums, Cocteau Twins, like a lot of things is just vowels, word salad. But everyone's different. I mean, everything's different. But we're not all Sean's or Leonard Cohen's. So we gotta.
Well, shit, man. Leonard Cohen, though, really interesting book called Songwriters on Songwriting. It's interviews with a lot of different songwriters. But the Leonard Cohen part, I was just really impressed that, Leonard Cohen fucking writes songs. He'll take 10 years to write a song. He'll have an entire spiral ring notebook with verses, just all for one single song. It'll just be page after page after page of fucking verses. And then, like, he culls that down to create a song. So, wow. Obviously, amazing lyricist, but it doesn't come easily. He also, I think daily has a routine, or did, R.I.P. Had a routine, gets up early in the morning when things are peaceful. Just I really enjoyed that interview, Leonard Cohen, and understanding his process.
I liked his anecdote.
Oh, sorry.
Cohen has an anecdote in that book where Bob Dylan asked him, he's like, hey, I really like that verse. How long did it take you to write it? And Cohen's like, 13 years. I like that. I like your one part on that, leopard skin pillbox hat or whatever. How long did it take you to write that? Bob Dylan was like, oh, like a minute. It's like, must be nice.
Eric Kingston asks, what is your favorite Doritos flavor?
Tapatio.
Good
Cool
one.
American.
Salsa verde.
Salsa verde is good.
Was it
Sweet
England
Doritos.
or Australia where there was kebab shop flavor? Was it Doritos? I want to say that I had some kebab shop flavored Doritos that were pretty cool.
I think that was a potato chip,
It
right?
was called night something. Or Doritos, I'm not. Oh, I guess they're tortillas.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was like night mode Doritos or something.
Yeah, but it was supposed to taste like.
It was like Club and
Kebab
Kebab Shop or some shit.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It really did taste like it. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Nice, Owen, with the obscure Doritos.
Or the
good job.
Canadian dill pickle Doritos.
Yeah.
I like the
That's good.
spicy sweet chili. Those are good.
Spicy sweet chili. That is a pretty good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when those came out, all the vegans were stoked because it was technically vegan.
Yeah, it's the only vegan Dorito.
Yeah.
Hi, Oliver.
I said Cool American, but I meant Cool Ranch.
Well, Cool
But
American in Europe.
It's Cool American, yeah.
Well, you like it
Yeah.
better when you get it from somewhere else. It's more exciting.
Exotic, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. S. Henry asks, what's the best ice cream?
I like
Ben
Haagen-Dazs coffee. What did you say, Preston?
Let's say I have Ben and Jerry's many things. I like a lot of Ben and Jerry's. Cherry Garcia is always the one that I come back to. I'll mess around with a lot of different ones. Actually, for Christmas, Colleen gave me an ice cream maker, so I made my own version of Cherry Garcia, but it's called Dawn Cherry, and it's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, Ben and Jerry's though.
Fuck yeah.
I really like homemade ice cream a lot too. Yeah, homemade ice cream is so fucking good. But an honorable mention, spumoni. It's like an Italian kind of dessert. Well, obviously it's ice cream, but it's like almond, pistachio, and sometimes strawberry, sometimes chocolate. It's a really good one that isn't always available, but I think it's like a seasonal thing. Sometimes you'll find it at the store. I don't even know what brand makes it, but Spumoni.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what do you got there? What do you got there, Owen?
Well, this is I've been trying this lately. This vegan van. It's all backwards, obviously. Van, or is it not backwards?
It's
to
not
you?
backwards.
Not for
Can
me.
you move it a little bit to your right?
Oh yeah,
There we go.
not backwards to me. Brown sugar.
Van
What
Leeuwen.
flavor is that?
Oat milk brown sugar chunk
That sounds
with cookie dough, brownies, and candied oat clusters.
Jeez.
That sounds awesome.
It's flipping delicious, and it's vegan.
Cool. Yeah, I'm into just like all the weird stuff. Like, I still think about that Salt and Straw place. Like, I almost ordered. They do mail order, and I almost ordered. Like, you can get 5 pints for $60, but then there's $40 shipping because they overnight it. But for my birthday, I almost got 5 pints of that shit. It's the only ice cream that I like. I'm on their mailing list, and I don't give a shit to unsubscribe. As opposed to everything else, I just violently click unsubscribe immediately. But I'll see what their weird flavors are every month.
Like around like November one year, they did like all like it's like a Thanksgiving dinner in a variety of ice creams, right? One of them like
Yeah.
maybe even had turkey in it or something.
There was a turkey gravy one, I think.
Whoa.
Wow.
But yeah, because we went there on tour. We went to the one in LA, and
Yeah.
the fucking like what was it? The olive brittle and goat cheese one just like broke
Yeah.
my brain, and I'm like, this is the best ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
The
cool.
one I got a scoop or two of that one. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah. I keep getting close. There's also a really good local spot called Novel Ice Cream that has won like national ice cream competitions and stuff. They do all the weird flavors and shit. And they also make ice cream sandwiches with donuts.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I like the fucked up weirdo shit.
They do that at Scoops at I think it's called Scoops at Observatory in Santa Ana.
Oh, yeah,
You guys
yeah.
end up trying that? It's really, really expensive, but it's pretty tasty. There's another local shop I want to shout out called Milk Run that has like it's attached to a Vietnamese restaurant, so they do boba and ice cream, and they do these like crazy floats. They sell them in like milk bottles too, so you can bring your milk bottle back, I think, and like have them fill it up. But they have like taro root, which was like I think that place was my first exposure to taro flavored ice cream, which is really, really good.
They also have a siracha
like
ice
taro.
cream.
I love your composition right now, Owen, with the fan.
Yeah, I know. I noticed this. And I was like, all right, we'll go for
Looks
it.
great.
Cool halo.
Cool. Bourbon Weather writes, Sean mentioned something from a podcast once on one of the LFQs a while back, and I would love some podcast recommendations from everyone.
Hardcore History, Wind of Change.
What's that? The Cocaine and Rhinestones?
Cocaine and Rhinestones was great. I don't know. Rune Soup.
What are any of those things?
Hardcore History is that one's been around for a long time, and that's like this guy does many hour deep dives on. He switches between ancient history and more modern history, and it's very good. Cocaine and Rhinestones is about country music. Wind of Change is about how maybe the song Wind of Change by Scorpions is a CIA psyops operation.
Oh,
I
cool.
still need to listen to that one. It's so good.
Rune Soup is about like permaculture and magic, and I don't know. I know there are a lot more, but who knows? What about you guys?
I think a favorite in the in the van is Song Exploder, which is, often it'll be a newer song that's been recorded, and it's an interview about all the components of the tracking, all the stuff that would be really interesting and geeky to musicians. Just kind of how you construct a song and how these songs are made and different recording methods and songwriting methods and stuff like that. That was really good. Sean, what was the one that Andy did that we got interviewed for it. I think that it was only like 3 seconds of you talking and me going like, yeah, that actually got used, but it's not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The
I can't remember the name of it. I did like it though.
Shit, yeah. What is that one called? Let me look it up. Andy Bothwell, who raps under the name Astronautilus. Really, really awesome guy. Cool friend. Teamed up with Consequence of Sound and does a podcast about albums. Like each season is a different album, and he interviewed us and used very little of it for his podcast about London Calling.
It's really interesting the way that it's put together, as far as like him telling the stories behind it and listening to the record, and I don't know, just a deep dive on. There's a season on Willie Nelson's Red-Headed Stranger that's really good.
It's called The Opus.
The Opus, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add that to my podcatcher right now.
I'm a big fan of NPR stuff. So, trying to think of some of the faves. I know Preston likes On the Media. I like that one a lot too.
Yeah, but I had to stop On the Media because it's too depressing.
It's really dark. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's the times, but yeah, I've had to chill out on that.
I like Hidden Brain a lot. Is a really interesting one. Yeah, I don't know. What do you? Money, please.
I'm looking at my little. I've been listening to one called Bad Gays, which is about complicated queer people throughout history. Everyone from like Alexander the Great to Morrissey.
Interesting.
That one's pretty great. In our BBC's In Our Time, it's a bunch of like highly educated British people that sit around and talk about a topic for an hour, and go back and forth and massage each other with all their degrees and all of their all of their educated knowledge. But it's pretty great.
Nice.
If you like movies, You Must Remember This is really great. Those just goes really deep on movies and actors and politics of movies and actors. Also a lot of old-timey stuff.
What was the one
called you?
There was one that we used to listen to, which I'm not sure, not speaking for everyone, but what was it like? How did this get made?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that podcast.
Rick would always play that one.
Yeah, Rick liked that one.
It was Paul Shear, June Diane Raphael, and
Zooks.
Zooks. Jason Mantzoukas. They cover a bad movie, trying to figure out how the movie got made. That was very fun. It was a good podcast.
Nothing But Trouble, which I highly recommend that movie, and then also listening to the podcast about that one. It's a strange one.
Yeah.
What do you got, Owen? You got... sorry.
Preston's still going, I think.
I mean, I could go for a while. This is the last thing I'm gonna add because it's a good moment. It's not exactly a podcast, but as far as like long form listening stuff, anything by Joe Frank is his name, and Joe Frank was active on like various kind of public radio-ish type shows on the East Coast and the West Coast, all the 80s, through the 90s, 2000s. He died a few years ago. But anything Joe Frank, he does like these hour-long kind of radio, they're like, I don't know, philosophical and surreal and dark and funny and confusing. Joe Frank, look it up. You'll have a good time.
Nice.
That's all.
this podcast, I think they're going to do it again this year, but right before Halloween, there's this NPR show called Snap Judgment, and they did a spinoff called Spooked, and it's just like real people's ghost stories, basically. But it's done under that sort of NPR. I don't know. It feels good to listen to. I think Ben and I both share the like NPR on most of the time in the house.
Yeah.
Way of life,
dude.
which could be a double-edged sword. But
I took a break. Oh, sorry. I took a break. Like, I think April and May, I pretty much just did not listen to NPR.
Yeah.
And it was a good time to take a break. And reintroducing, like, I've been a little bit slower to get back into like the leave it on all day kind of deal.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have a really cool radio station, KXCI, here in Tucson. That's like, just they play lots of great music, and so I'll kind of go back and forth between the two. But
yeah, when they were doing the coronavirus task force daily briefings, I shut it off too. I was like,
too much.
Cannot suffer through this. It's fucking absurd.
Yeah.
I'm giggling, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know who should they handle that with. It's so disgusting. Feeling a lot of disgust lately, but Spooked is really, really good. It's very scary because they feel like very real ghost stories, and like ones that could actually happen. It's not just kind of like supernatural in a way that seems unrealistic, and it's presented in a really engaging way. And then also Reveal is a good podcast, which is another NPR related thing that is like investigative journalism, where they'll pick like usually it's episode by episode. They'll go and they'll focus on one thing that they're investigating, whether it's like there was this one recently where they did a few mini episodes. It was like 6 of them, I think, or so, and they were investigating halfway houses that were, or like recovery programs that were just treating their clients as like slave labor, essentially, and had been since the 50s or something like that. And there was like, when one would shut down, it would spawn a few more because people would go out from there, and then like, anyway, it's fascinating. But those, and then of course like This American Life is always good. I don't think I've heard an episode of that where I've been really bummed out for listening to it, but that's obviously an old classic one. And then Radio Lab too. So those are the 2 that are always good. Or like TED Radio Hour.
A lot of good programming.
You guys find so much time to cram your brains with information.
It falls right out.
I don't have a child either.
It goes right through.
Yeah, even before the child, though, I've never been a super big podcast listener. Every once in a while, I'll listen to this skate podcast that some smart folks around called Vent City. And if there's an artist or a song I'm interested in on Song Exploder, I'll listen to that. But it's you guys stuffing it in there.
What are you stuffing? What are you stuffing,
listening to, Mark?
What's up? What do I?
What you stuffing? What you stuffing in your ears?
What are you stuffing these days?
I'm not really listening to any podcasts. Like, I have a list of favorites that I keep thinking like, I should catch up with that. But like, I did most of my podcast listening when I was either running or driving, and it's been too hot to run, and I have nowhere to drive to. So I like 2.0 a lot, which is Will Wiesenfeld, Baths, and his brother. It's a comedy podcast where they improve things that are, quote, fine. So like they'll have a whole episode where they list like the pros and cons of teeth, and then try to like focus group them to make them like more efficient or something like that. It's really funny. Yeah, it's great. So that's really funny. I like the Tape Op podcast. Generally, I'll listen to it for like 5 or 10 minutes and see if the person that's on for that month is anybody that I'm gonna like agree with on stuff, because I've definitely turned some off immediately. Like, oh, you think that no good record's been made since 1993? All right, cool, done, bye. But yeah, the tape op's good. Song Exploder's great.
Does the Tape Op podcast still sound like shit?
Yeah, generally it
Yes.
does.
Love that. That's the best.
Yeah, it's the least produced podcast out of any that we've listed. But yeah,
For sure.
but yeah.
Oh.
Otherwise, yeah.
Mind if I interject really quick on the best podcast that sounds the worst is the Chris Kirkwood podcast.
That one's
Sounds like shit.
That was a great podcast while it lasted. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely had some sound issues, but man, like some of those, the one with Neil Hamburger and the guys from JFA and all that.
Yeah, that was a good one. Anyway, back to Mark.
Yeah.
I had one more. Shit, what was it? Oh yeah. Wanted to shout out Rosenstock and Farron's Bat to the Eye Man, which is it used to be Back to the Island, and then they ran out of Lost episodes, so now they're watching Batman movies. It's the only former Lost podcast turned Batman podcast.
All right.
Fair enough.
Cool. So, oh yeah, we'll do a couple more. Just this one's real fast and easy. Taylor Schmel asks if we can show our sadstab tattoo.
Yeah.
Let's see how this angle works. Where is it?
Oh yeah. That's a good one. That's a little dog. That's Beefy.
What's up, Beefy?
Yeah. Here is this one is a sad stabs.
Oh,
The
can you move?
waves, the
Yeah,
wavy
there you go.
waves.
Perfect.
They're theta waves. And then I've got another one. My little brother William drew this. It's a guy wearing a mask upside down. It says "woof." Ugh.
Right.
Done. Whoops.
And we'll go out on this one. Sorry, because we've already gone pretty long, but there's always next month.
Yeah.
And I feel like this one would be fun. Jack Arthur asks, "What have you been listening to recently?"
Ooh. Left now.
I've been listening to the Gene Clark album "No Other" a lot, which I just discovered. I know some of the other. I'm late to the party. Just found that. It's rocking my world.
You guys have a really similar singing voice. I realized when I was listening to that album the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you sound like Gene. It's
Well, thanks.
nice.
Yeah.
I've been listening to. Sorry, just looking at my recent searches. Oh, Golden Boots, Joyce Manor, Rage Against the Machine, Lady Gaga, Willie Nelson, and Jackson Brown, and yeah, I don't know. That's just rants. I've been listening to a lot of Rancid lately. Owen had mentioned something about playing a game that was familiar and how it's like kind of like a nice safety blanket or something. Rancid is somewhat that for me. I listened to a lot when I was younger, and I feel like it really stands up, or stands the test of time. And
Out Come the
I don't
Wolves
know.
or other albums.
Out Come the Wolves, most definitely. Basically, like, so the Life Won't Wait, which is a little bit more like expansive as far as like different sounds, and then the Rancid 2000, which was more like a hardcore record, sort of like more hardcore than most Rancid records, but also has some good reggae and ska, and like Matt Freeman starts singing again. He hadn't really sang on the last. I mean, he did like backup vocals, but like he has like songs on it. which like he's got this really awesome and like fucked up voice, similar to Tim Armstrong, who also like I realize has just like this really gnarly voice, but can like pull off a pop song. Like Ruby Soho is just like a really great pop song. I remember seeing it on MTV, and it fit in with all the other stuff that was happening around that time. So yeah, I don't know. Listening to those 3 albums specifically has been really comforting.
I just logged back into my Spotify on my new phone, my new rehabbed phone, and now I can't find the most recent stuff that I've been listening to, unfortunately.
I haven't been listening to too much since I have been like making a record, and I tend to not want to be that influenced by stuff and in the moment anyway. Sometimes, unless it's like hyper focusing on like the fidelity of a particular instrument on an album, where I'm like, what did this drum sound like again? But otherwise, I kind of like stay away. But the last thing I remember listening to and being like, or the last couple things like, oh, this is really good, was like the Mutantes, the Os Mutantes' second album, Mutantes, and then The Move. The last 2 records are that record and then that band. They have like a Move compilation that I fucking broke. I dropped a vinyl record on the ground, just perfectly perpendicular to it, and just shattered one little chunk off it. So the first track, either side of this thing is like not gonna play. It's not the best song, so it's like,
yeah,
it's not a bad song, but yeah.
But you wish that piece of the record was still there.
It's like,
yeah.
Man.
I did that to an English beat record, Can't Stop the Beat. It was when I first got it. Fell out. And it cracked. I mean, it cracked the first 2 songs on the A side and B side, which are like, Mirror in the Bathroom is one of those, and like some real quality material got broken off. I replaced it since then, but yeah.
I'll adding on that one. In the last few weeks, I read a book about Hawkwind and a book about Can. So I just listened to I just went through like the entire Hawkwind disco, not the entire I went to like everything Hawkwind through the mid '80s, and I just listened to like all the Can stuff. So yeah, last few weeks, a lot of Hawkwind, a lot of Can. Motoricked out. Pretty
nice.
Pretty good.
I went to the thrift store the other day and picked out some CDs, and I got a Willie Nelson best of, and I got Switched on Bach on compact disc. That one's pretty nice. Yeah, on top of that, I've been listening to that Sharon Van Etten record that came out last year that Congleton produced. Is still really good. And Tim Hardin, after you reminded or after you let us know that Tim Hardin joined Can for a couple gigs, I was like, oh shit, I gotta listen to some Timmy.
How crazy is that?
Yeah. Have you found any of those boots?
I haven't, like the sites online that had those the shows where Tim Hardin sang for Can, the links had long since disappeared, and they were only released on like some bootleg CDs. And now that ever since Discogs jumped the shark a few years ago and stopped selling bootleg stuff, I just can't find it. But
damn.
Yeah, but if anyone's got the Can bootlegs with Tim Hardin singing lead,
yeah,
put that shit up.
I'll try to. Next time I'm on a device that has Twitter on it, I'll put the call out to
cool.
Any of our people. I don't know if it'll reach anyone that hasn't.
I'll take a look. See what I can find. What have I been listening to recently? Fred Thomas put out he put out his Quarantine record, which is all just a bunch of like synthesizer pieces. It's really cool. because I really like the way that guy works with melody. Turns out doesn't even need singing or anything.
Isn't it weird that you played on one of his records when you were a child?
Yeah. And he remembered it. That's the weirder thing.
He was like, I had no business recording this album with this teenager.
Yeah. Seriously. That's a story for another time.
We gotta tell that story one of these days. It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, what else have I've been listening? I've been going back to a lot of stuff that I missed of the past decade. Or what year was this record? Yeah, so like 2010 to 2019, like records that people made a big deal about that I just missed, like the first Oneotrix Point Never record, or like a bunch of Daedalus's stuff, just like weird focused things.
Yeah.
Also Viagra Boys, because that song Sports fucking rocks.
You sent me that. That record is good.
The whole record's good, but man, he just said when he says wiener balls, it's just the best. It's like I don't know, they strike me as like a more accessible Pissed Jeans almost. Like they have that sort of sense of humor. But yeah. That's pretty much it. Not a lot of stuff. I'm not getting I have a weird, much like I'm not listening to podcasts, I have a weird like feeling of like I'm not really listening to anything. Even though I'm home and generally not doing stuff. I don't know what I've been doing all day. Oh yeah, I have been listening to a lot of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack. That's true too. But yeah.
I remember one more record that's been on my rotation that you introduced me to, Mark, and that is the self-titled Antony and the Johnsons album.
Oh yeah.
Which is
shit's good.
Gorgeous, great lyrics. Yeah, that's a delightful listen.
Yeah. There's recordings on YouTube, like a well shot, well recorded thing of them. They did a tour towards the end of the band, performing with symphonies. So like there's a full set of that on YouTube I did watch that recently.
Yeah, I watched that too.
It's great.
Showed it to the kid. Not as good as the record. The album is so nice.
It's a good band.
Yeah.
I missed out on them because I just assumed they were all burgery because of the name. Because of who I knew who liked them, and because of the name, I thought they were like some Burger Records cocaine bullshit.
I thought it was some Coco Rosie cocaine bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always go back to stuff, find out that it's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that'll probably do it for all this stuff, won't it?
For you guys,
Yeah.
have any of you watched the Slint documentary that's on YouTube that Lance Bangs made?
Oh, I'll watch that. Sounds great.
It's pretty cool. I recommend
Yeah.
it.
Cool. I'll do that.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, thanks for listening this far if you have. And we'll be back next month. If you have any questions to submit, go to our Patreon, and then you can maybe have it on the video as long as it's a good one. I don't know.
Yeah. Ask good questions.
And receive
Bandmates is
medium
great.
answers. Solid
Yeah.
hang. Cool. Well,
Just
I'm gonna.
Yeah, good hang. I miss you. Yeah, I miss you guys a lot. This has definitely been the highlight of this last month. I've felt so crazy. This is like definitely the highlight of the last like 3 weeks.